Welcome to Coffee and Conversation. My name is Honorine, and today I'm with Hannah Smith, who just graduated with her master in interior design. Hannah, welcome and congratulations on your recent graduation.
Thank you.
My first question for you is a little introduction. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Hannah Smith. I'm originally from Dublin, Georgia. I went and got my undergrad at Georgia Southern University. I graduated with honors as well as a Southern Leaders graduate. And then I came to Florida State to get my master's. I just really did a lot of research on which master's program would be the best for me. And after touring FSU, it just felt like a second home. And so that's why I attended Florida State. I was heavily involved at Florida State in the Congress of Graduate Students, also known as COGS. I served as the representative of Fine Arts Seat 1, as well as the vice chair and chair for the Student Affairs Committee. I was also involved in the College of Fine Arts College Leadership Council, where I served as vice chair for 2 years. The Department of Interior Architecture and Design Student Advisory Council. I served on the University Homecoming Committee for a semester as a COGS representative. And I also was in the Student Alumni Association as well. Let's see what else. I was also a graduate teaching assistant for 2 years at Florida State University, and it was honestly the greatest experience I could have ever imagined, being with those students in the program, building those relationships, not only with the students, but being able to mentor them and just build relationships with the professors as well. It just was a really great experience, because with a Master's of Fine Arts, it's a terminal degree. So eventually, I might get tired in my field one day and want to fall back and teach. And so that's why I did the Master's of Fine Arts. But it was honestly the greatest thing ever. And I'm so thankful I got to take on the opportunity.
All right. You are very involved, or you were very involved at FSU. Where is this passion coming from?
For involvement?
For leadership, because most of your positions were were leadership positions.
Yeah, so I just love volunteering and just being heavily involved. I just want to make a difference, not only on campus, but in the community, and just how can I build my leadership skills. I was heavily involved at Georgia Southern, and I didn't know how I could do that at Florida State as a graduate student because, I wanted to do honors at Florida State as a graduate student, but that's non-existent. They won't let you because you're not an undergrad. And so I just started reaching out to the organizations, the College of Fine Arts, that is my college. And then obviously the Congress of Graduate Students. I've never been involved with SGA, but I was like, why don't I just take a shot at it? And it was so great. I made so many great friendships, learned a lot of political skills that I didn't know before, built relationships with others, and just, started enhancing those leadership skills that might be useful for my career in the future. And I think that's what it's all about, trying to build your leadership skills and become a better person.
So how did you find the time as a graduate student to be involved in so many different organizations?
It's funny you say that because the same thing I got told in undergrad was the same thing I got told in graduate. So in undergrad, I graduated with 4.0. And being so involved and in honors and stuff. And so I was like, I'm going to carry that into Florida State. Well, I actually graduated with 3.974 because I made an A- in my stats class. And I thought it was the worst thing ever. I was like, no one's going to hire me because I made an A-. And I was super distraught about it. However, I have a super great planner that keeps me organized and keeps me sane. If I did not have my planner, I would not be able to do what I did. I also color code my stuff by organizations with my Flair pens. So that's the only way I stay organized. I don't really use a phone calendar or anything like that. But, you make time for the things that you want to do. And that's how I was able to do it. I know with my degree, I don't know how others work, but having a Master of Fine Arts means that you not only have to do a thesis, you have to do a project as well. And so I'm doing all this research that helps me develop, this concept and project that I'm about to take on. So it was just like double whammy. And I would say probably 90% of my time on campus. Our major is located in the William Johnson building. And so I lived in my studio. Sometimes I brought a pillow and blanket. So I would take like a 30-minute nap. I'm not even kidding. Like there were just
Wow.
sometimes I had to take a break from my computer. There was actually one time I pulled an all-nighter in William Johnson. I slept at my desk and then went to class the next day. So I don't know. I just feel like, if you're going to do your master's and if you're wanting to be heavily involved and build those leadership skills, you need to put 110% in all that you do.
So let's talk about your research. Your research is in interior design, and people usually think of houses or building or stores, but you went for spacecraft and space habitats.
I
Why?
did.
How?
Okay, so quarantine hit May 2020 or March, I'm sorry, but I graduated in May 2020 for undergrad, and it was just kind of like it was a bummer because we went on spring break and we thought we were going to go out to school and that was it. I never knew that was my last like undergrad class in person. But in May of 2020, NASA and SpaceX did a test launch with Bob and Doug and the Crew Dragon to the International Space Station. And I remember I was about to go to the pool that day because there was nothing better else to do. And I was like, oh, this looks cool. I'm going to watch this live video. And I kid you not, I watched the whole 4-hour live at my apartment. And I was just so mesmerized. And I started doing a ton of research about spacecraft and just space in itself. And I was like, this is what I want to do in life. Originally, I was inspired by like aviation design. I wanted to go work at Gulfstream and design private jets and stuff. But I was like, how can we take this a step further? And so I thought of spacecraft design and, looking at past spacecraft and current spacecraft, they don't really have color or anything that you see here, like on Earth. And so I was just like, how can we, take this, manipulate it and make it like more of a cozy, homey environment for them to live in. So that's why I took this on. I'm really passionate about it because, I'm trying to push the boundaries of design and what we already know, because NASA is more focused on engineer-based technical stuff. They don't really care about the design. They do to a certain extent, but there's not really an interior designer role at NASA. It's all about engineers and mechanics and stuff like that. But for me, if I wanted to go get a job in spacecraft design after talking to someone who works at NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center, who essentially serves as my mentor, she told me that I should probably work for like a private space company like Boeing or SpaceX or Virgin Galactic to, try to get that interior design role, because that would be more beneficial than working at NASA. So, yeah.
So that's what you're doing right now? That's the kind of jobs you're applying to?
Well, I did have someone, so I posted my research on LinkedIn, and I had someone from Blue Origin reach out to me. I was like, whoa, okay, this is huge. And
Wow. So it's real. LinkedIn does.
it
That's
really
be
does
connecting.
help. Yeah, I had someone from Blue Origin and the CEO of Stellar Amenities. You probably haven't heard of it, but it's a new space architecture design company. And they've worked with like the Mars Society, Harvard's Graduate School of Design. I think they work with SpaceX as well as NASA. But they've been trying to do like collaborative work and put together conceptual designs for what could happen for future space habitats and things of that nature. But I talked to the CEO of Stellar Amenities, and we might do some future collab work. And then the person from Blue Origin who reached out to me has sent my resume over to Orbital Reef. And apparently Orbital Reef is supposed to be like the new and improved space station. They're still in like conceptual development. I think they've gotten the go to move on to design. but it's going to be the new space station apparently. So that's going to be super exciting. But
That's great. And you don't have any like dreams of being like an astronaut or going to space yourself?
you know, I keep getting asked that question, and at first I said no, but the more I think about it, I was like, why not? But the
Yeah.
thing is, I watched the like Inspiration 4 it's not really documentary, but there's like 4 episodes on Netflix of how they trained and things of that nature because they're humans like we are. They didn't really want to be astronauts. I know the Haley girl had cancer and stuff like that. But the way that they trained, I don't know if my body could handle it. Like the G forces and things of that nature. Like I think I would get sick,
Uh,
but you never know unless you try. So
that's true.
yeah.
And where do you see yourself in 5 years from today?
So honestly, I don't know when they think they're going to get to Mars, but I would love to be a part of the design team somewhere at a space company that is designing spacecrafts and more importantly, helping design the interior of the spacecraft that carries the first human mission to Mars. So
Okay.
that's where I would love to see myself. I know that's huge dreams, big dreams, but I think I can fulfill them. So
Yeah, there is no dreams that are big enough.
that's right.
And where do you see your leadership and volunteering, aspect of your life? Like, where would that fit in your 5-year project?
You know, I would like to serve leadership roles, you know, essentially in like the space industry, whether that's serving as like a space station ambassador, which is what I already do. You know, how do we get a part of like organizations that help out, you know, with different, I don't know, funding or, you know, conferences. I also would like to serve on like an alumni board for FSU essentially one day. I know I just got an email about a fellow society thing yesterday, so I think that would be really cool for FSU. But you know, I just love to serve and I love to volunteer and just give my time back and you know, just make the world a better place. And help others become leaders as well. Uh, one day I might fall back and teach too. I mean, I might serve that, you know, serve as a leader in that role too. But I would just love to serve on boards, organizations, what have you, just to make the space industry and FSU and everything else a better place. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time and for this great interview. It was
Thank you.
fascinating.